Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Right Next Door podcast. We're very excited today because it's a day where we have an additional person. You know, it's Jeff and Darren on the Right Next Door podcast. By the way, if you've not liked and subscribed and told all your friends and maybe taken out ads in major newspapers about the Right Next Door podcast to let everybody in human history know about us, please do that. Maybe leave the podcast right now, stop listening, and go tell everybody, and then come back and listen. But this is a special day because we have one of my dearest friends and Jeff's dear friend to be, who he's just met. My friend Noah Budin is here today. Hello, Noah.
Welcome, Noah.
Hello. Hi. Glad to be here. So glad. I'm a fan. I'm a fanboy, and I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a fan of the Right Next Door podcast, you too may come on here and be a big part of our world and our lives. Actually, that's wrong. That's not true.
Well, we could do that, and we'll be gentle to all our fans. It's all our non-fans that we would be non-gentle to.
So, Jeff, we don't want our non-fans to come on the podcast with us. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we do, but we just won't be. We won't be as cordial.
You're setting up cordiality. We're going to be nice to Noah. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we have to. He's a super fan. What else could we possibly do? We have to.
We don't want to insult and scare away our super fans.
Yeah, we don't want super fans leaving because they've done a bit on our show. That would be terrible.
That would be terrible. But Right Next Door podcast, we talk about neighbors. We talk about all things neighborly and also anything tangential, any noun that can be in the same paragraph or book as the word neighbor. I think we really would deal with. So we go far afield in our topics.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, D, because I thought we'd start out today. You know, I have to do conference meetings occasionally.
Yes, for the worky work, for the jobby job.
Yes, for the worky work. You know, not that this isn't work, but this work has no paycheck attached. So there's other work. So I'm in an all-day meeting this week.
Yeah,
and it started to make me crazy because the people in the meeting kept using the word right. R-I-G-H-T, after everything. So it would be similar to, my name is Jeff, right? And I'd like to talk to you today about some new and exciting info, right? And it was right. And it got to the point that everybody in the meeting was saying right so often that I just stopped listening to the meeting and I started counting how many times the word. So I didn't hear anything in the meeting other than the word right. I just started counting, and then I literally stopped counting after 75.
Wow.
Which I think we hit within the first, 15 minutes.
It's a verbal tick.
It makes me crazy because I guess it's being used because in a way where you're inferring that whatever you're saying, everybody is in agreement with, or if you're not in agreement with the statement, you're supposed to be.
Well, Jeff, if people do that, there's something, that can be really, really, difficult to take in about that, So, it's some people have a little, verbal thing that they do, and it's.
Well, it wasn't one individual though. It was everybody in the room was making me crazy.
Well, they were younger people, right?
Were they younger?
Noah's already catching on.
Sorry,
they were not. They were older people. Well, it was a mix of young and old people, right? And what I found out is I did a little Google search and just under why is everybody using the word right? And a bunch of stuff popped up. And there's a guy on LinkedIn who wrote a whole dissertation on how annoying it is. And so I guess this is not unique in and of itself to my workplace because there's a lot of people that are upset with using that word, right? And so
it's a verbal tick, like I was demonstrating with if anybody wants to write in the podcast and tell us what drives them nuts, but
I can tell you.
Yeah,
I can tell you what drives me nuts. Vocal fry. Okay, that's all. Especially in I know. I know.
Why?
All right. It's very prominent. I hear it. I hear it.
What are you saying?
There's 2 more weeks of therapy for me.
Well,
Especially young women on NPR. Vocal fry, for those who don't know, it's this thing like when Bill Clinton said, "I did not have relations with that woman." You know, that kind of little creaky door thing in your voice. Often it's young women, and it's kind of a sign of being really cool. And generally, guys our age don't typically do it.
No, I don't think so. But another thing that thankfully is going away is when people would use the phrase "in other words." And I'll tell you why that I actually stopped a guy. I was in a meeting and he went on this thing and he said, "So in other words," and I just said, no, stop. I go, I understood what you said the first time. And you don't have to tell me in other words, because when you use that term, you're either inferring that I'm too stupid to comprehend what you said the first time, so you got to dumb it down, or you're so stupid that you can't articulate yourself properly the first time, and then you got to waste my time saying it again. So the look on that dude's face was like, okay. And then I never heard him use that phrase again. So if you want
never
that
spoke to you again, ever.
Well, I think possibly maybe that's a fix for the right thing. If you just tell people what they're doing, if you let them know. By the way, you're saying the word right after every phrase you say. I've done coaching for people that are trying to learn how to speak more good. And
more better. I think it's more better.
And one of the things I talk about is these vocal tics. I talk about vocal fry, about projection, and there are fixes for that, and a lot of it is just becoming aware.
So here's a vocal tic story from my childhood, if I may.
Sure.
My mother, we had an old piano. This was 1960. All right, so I don't know, 7, let's say, maybe 1970, somewhere in there. And the piano was already 100 years old, and it had never been tuned. Oh, I just used the word sorry. So that's probably another vocal thing. And my mother called a piano tuner who had the vocal tic of using the word now after every, so what time should I come out there now? The name of our company, right? The name of our company is We Tune Pianos Now, but just now came after every word. And he was trying to find out what kind of a piano it was. And my mother didn't know the terminology. And he said, one of the questions he asked was, is your piano upright now? And my mother, I watch her on the phone.
No, it just fell over.
Right. You're right. No, she looks into the other room. She says, "What?" He says, "Is your piano upright now?" And she's thinking to herself, "Is it sleeping? I don't know what."
Has it been turned on?
Yeah. She said, I think so. Anyway, that got sorted out. But that was another vocal tic now. And another newer one, actually, it's making a comeback, is, I mean, at the beginning of a sentence. Yep.
Yeah, all of these. Well, and I kind of blame McDonald's for the "I'm loving it" thing, because now gerunds are used incredibly often.
Gerunds are ing words, folks. Ing words.
Ing words. And so I corrected a waitress once. She's like, "How is everything tasting?" And I'm like, "Do you mean how does everything taste?" Great, thank you. I mean, it just makes me crazy. Like when I was teaching my kids how to write term papers, every other word was a gerund. And I'm like, stop using. I'm like, do not use words ending in ing. It's ridiculous.
Jeff, you're a bad parent. The good parent writes the paper for them. So I'm really kind of appalled that
what I think.
For you would make them
that was
learn.
Their expectation.
Oh,
that was their expectation, and
you're expecting them to be learning how to do the writing themselves.
Right. Yep, that's right. But no, I think right. The expectation was I would do the punch up. They'd hand in a thing and they would do, and then writing term papers is a formula, right? So once you learn the formula, right, you know how to do it, right? And so once I taught them that, they never had a problem writing term papers again, right? And then they flourished when it came to, they didn't fear writing term papers. They excelled at it.
They knew how to write, right?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Dirty deeds, triggered tirades, busybodies, and missing cats. They say tall fences make good neighbors. but bad neighbors make the Right Next Door podcast.
I'm going to put something in the show notes. Some of the funniest cartoons that Gary Larson ever did had dachshunds in them. About there's a dachshund leaning against a counter in a kitchen. The dachshund is stretched up and he's making himself an espresso using the espresso machine. And the caption is "How nervous little dogs start their day." And you can just imagine a dachshund like fueling up with caffeine before yipping endlessly and driving you out of your mind.
I still have the Gary Larson calendar here. See?
Yeah, look at that.
I keep it alive. I love Gary. I mean, my two favorites was one of them was the chicken on a Chase Lounge chair talking to a person suntanning in the Riviera.
Yeah.
And the caption was, "They made me a free-range chicken, and I never turned back."
Yeah.
And the other one, speaking of paranormal, was a guy on the operating table, and the doctors had the light above the guy's face, and they were turning it on and off. and then the guy woke up and he's like, "I saw a light," and the doctors are all like laughing in the background. And
that's how they get you.
Years ago, wasn't one of your favorites was another latte cartoon, right? Cowboys out on the range, and
the free range, the chickens.
No. Cowboys out on the range by a campfire, but with a cappuccino machine, and one cowboy's looking at the other and says, "Latte, Jed." That was I just remember that being one of your.
Yeah, that guy was a genius. He was so funny. Let's see. Today is Trouble Brewing. What is this? Falcons Club meet here. Oh, and so there's a poodle picnic, and right beyond the tree line is the Falcon Club meets here. So obviously the Falcons are going to have lunch on the poodles.
So that's a neighbor thing. You got to make sure you have a little dog. Jeff has a cute little dog, and he's in a suburb of the big city, and a falcon could come right down and snatch Fritz away. So I mean that's a worry when you have a little dog.
And we legitimately have a falcon. I mean, he's landed on my patio umbrella before.
Well, is it a falcon, a hawk? Is it what kind of?
I can't distinguish between a hawk and a falcon. I just know it's not an eagle. That's all I can tell you.
You can't just say the word falcon to a birder.
I do like birds. I like birds, but a falcon is also a car that was driving around when we were all kids.
And a movie with Pat Metheny soundtrack, Falcon and the Snowman from the 80s.
Oh, right. Yes.
So daylight saving time, I think we can survive it, Jeff. I think it doesn't bother you. It bothers Noah and his lovely wife. I'm indifferent. If any of our fans or friends have a question or a thought about daylight saving time, if they're going to push back on the fact that it's daylight saving time instead of daylight savings time, they can let us know, and we'll have that fight, Jeff. I will take that fight on.
All I'm going to say is don't let the sun go down on me.
Don't let the sun go down on me. Although I search myself.
Now you've done it, Joe.
Now I've done it. So, great show today, Noah. Thank you. We'll have you back. Maybe we should have Superfan Day once a month.
Sure.
Noah can just come back. And,
okay. I thought maybe you meant I was going to say thank you and yeah, absolutely. But then I thought maybe you meant for your other super fans, So I'll give other people. Well,
right now you're our only known super fan, so you're in the pole position at least right now.
Noah, it's terrific to have you here. That story about your mom, I remember your mother so well, and Greta was just this amazing human being. Everybody who knew her felt better for the experience of knowing her, and so and you're very similar, my friend, my longtime dear friend. I'm so glad we had you on the cast today, and we'll absolutely do it again.
Well, see that. Thank you very much. I've been a super fan of Darren's for many years.
Right back at you. Noah's also a singer, songwriter. Noah, well, let's promote your album. What's the
Yeah, it's called Only Love. I happen to have a copy of it here, but of course I'm showing it here to you on the
Wow.
on the Zoom. But
let's put a link up.
Yeah, it's noahbudin.com is my website, and you can get it there. Oh, and Darren, I know you told me that you were listening to it. I'm not going to quiz you on it because streaming though, and that you don't even want physical CDs.
I don't listen to physical CDs.
You don't listen to them, but this is a work of art. But I also want to show you this. This is dedicated to Greta and Tommy.
Oh.
And there's a song on it called Because of You, a song for Greta and Tommy. And
Tommy's your
grandson and 4-year-old grandson now. And they did overlay. She did get to meet her great grandson for a few months. Wow. And when you take the CD out of
there's a picture of Greta and
great.
Tommy. Oh,
look at that.
Oh.
See, I figured the minute you held up that CD, Noah, I knew right away Darren was going to give you grief over the CD. He's like,
yeah,
what, a CD?
Noah, it's a beautiful CD. I know what went into the production of it. If it arrived at my address, I would drive it right to a landfill. I'm sorry. It just, it's not, I mean no disrespect. That's just the way I feel about the physical object of CDs these days.
My friend, listen, the cover and the inside watercolor art was done especially for me by Julie Silver, another Jewish singer-songwriter who also does watercolors. The collage on the back was done by my son, Zach. And
but again, any physical objects. I'm getting old enough now that if I have a new thing in my life, I think who's going to get that when I expire? So it just
I'll take it back.
Okay. Well, I'll give it back to you. I'll leave it in my will to return things.
Years. Yeah. I'm younger than you. I'll take it.
And Darren, I'm planning a garage sale, and in the garage at this very moment is an IKEA CD holder. I had an extra one. I'm going to bring it over to your house so you have a place to put Noah's CD. Now there'll be no excuses. You'll have one CD on the CD holder.
Okay, I'll start collecting CDs starting now.
You have a neighbor who's driving you crazy. Tell us about it. RightNextdoorPodcast@gmail.com. The Right Next Door Podcast is an unscripted production of Eversharp Media, which takes a satirical look at local news coverage and social media. The material, views, and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the talent, guests, or the production company. Celebrity voices impersonated, including this one.